Hello students, myself Professor Ashok M Jain. In this lecture of control system, I am going to solve two numerical problems based on the block diagram reduction technique. Here I am going to develop three parts 1, part 2 and part 3. And in each part we'll try to solve two numerical based on the block diagram reduction technique. And I will try to simplify this technique. Okay, so in the last lecture I had discussed about reduction rules. So based on that rules I am going to solve it. Okay, this is the example number 1. In this example, this is, you can say here it is just wait. I'm going to use viewing. Okay. So this is G1. This is G2, G3, G4, H1, H3, H2, C of S. Okay, this is R of S. This is positive and negative. Okay, here it is positive feedback I am taking here. Okay, and this is negative. Okay, now you can see here in this diagram, if you, this is the takeoff point, you can see here, if you shift this takeoff point to here, okay, so I am shifting this takeoff point here. So what will happen if it is here and if this is shifted to here? So यहाँ लेने के बाद what will happen? Whatever the feedback is there, यहाँ multiply by G4 हो रहा है, right? So if you are shifting here, so we have to divide this by G4. Clear? We have discussed this. If you take shifting the takeoff point beyond the block, it will be divided by the gain of the block. अगर यहाँ है तो suppose करो ये यहाँ आ गया, so what will be happen? This will become H2 by G4. और यहाँ आया तो यहाँ multiply होने वाला है. If it is multiplied, okay, so obviously we will divide. Suppose यहाँ का K है, suppose the gain, clear? Or what is the gain here? K into G4. So if you are taking feedback from here, clear, we have to divide by G4. So I am going to take, this is the plus minus, this is R of S. Okay, this is G1. This is the error detector. It is always plus. Here it is given plus. So this is plus. This is G2. Okay. And we are taking the feedback here. This will be, that is the change. Okay. It is H2 by G4. If you are shifting this takeoff point beyond the block, so we have to divide by gain of that block. Okay. Okay. Now if you shift here, okay, so these two will be in cascade, G3 and G4 will be in cascade. Okay, and this cascade is forming a closed loop with H1. So what is the gain of this? Only in one step I am going to solve. First of all, I am going to shift this here. Okay, then these two will come in cascade and it is forming a closed loop with the negative feedback with H1. So क्या आएगा? GS will be what? G3 into G4. This is GS upon 1. It is a negative feedback, so it is a plus G3, G4, GS, HS. G3, G4 into H1. Okay, so this will form a block here, and if you are going to shift here, so these two will be in cascade, it is forming a closed loop, so this will be removed by one block here. Okay, what is the gain of this block? G3 G4 upon 1 plus G3 G4 H1, G3 G4 H1. Okay, and this is the C of S, and here it is a feedback. This is the takeoff point. So I have first, that is the first step, we have shifted this takeoff point here. So here what is the value of H2 upon G4? Now then second step, these two will be in cascade. Okay, so G3 to G4, that is GS, and this is forming a closed loop with negative feedback. So okay, now this is, यहीं से एक और फीडबैक ले रहे हैं हम, that is a H3, और ये it is going here. Okay, next step. Okay, now you can say these two are in cascade, these two are in cascade, right? And this cascade with feed, it is forming a feedback loop with positive feedback. Okay, so we can solve here. This is forming a G of S. कितना है? G of S कितना है? I am going to use another ink. Let us this. This is G2, G3, G4. G2, G3, G4, G2, G3, G4 upon 1 plus G3, G4, H1. This is what G of S. Okay, these two are in cascade, so this we are converting into one loop. Now this is G of S and this is H of S. So it is forming a closed loop. So what is the value? 1 upon 1, because it is positive feedback, so negative GS. GS means this G2, G3, G4 upon 1 plus G3, G4, H1. This is G of S. Okay. Okay. So GS upon 1 minus GS HS is what? H2 upon G4. H2 upon G4. So you can see this and this will be cancelled. Okay. So here after we will take, this is the G3 and G4. This is G4. This is G3. So we will take the LCM, and after LCM this will be cancelled. देखो, denominator here and denominator here will be cancelled after G. So you will get G2, G3, G4, and this will be cancelled after LCM. Okay, so after LCM मतलब 1 into 1 plus what? G3, G4, H1 minus this what? Minus क्या है? G2, G3, H2, G2, G3, H2. So in place of that, here we will replace, this is the feedback loop, by this. So another diagram I'm going to draw. Then this one and G1, it is forming a cascade. So I'm going to make block of this. I'm going to make this block. What is this? G1 and this will be in cascade. So it is combinedly क्या आएगा? G1, G2, G3, G4 upon 1 plus G3, G4 H1 minus G2 G3 H2. After this, and this is forming a cascade, okay, it is plus, and this is negative feedback minus, this is R of S, okay, this is C of S, and we are taking feedback from here, that is the closed loop H3. Okay, so in this way we will go. Now next step is what? This and H3 is forming a closed loop with negative feedback. So you can find the transfer function, that is the final answer. Okay, so what is the final answer? This is forming a closed loop, so I'm going to use another ink, and then that will be the final answer we will solve here. So first of all, I'm going to delete it. Okay, and then we will solve it. Okay, I'm going to use green ink. Okay, so here this is GS, this is HS. It is negative feedback, so GS upon. So what is the transfer function? Final answer transfer function, that is CS upon R is equal to what? This GS means what? G1, G2, G3, G4 upon this 1 plus G3 G4 H1 minus G2 G3 H2 GS upon 1. This is the negative feedback, so it is plus. There is a negative feedback here, so it is a plus. GS means this G1 G2 G3 G4 upon 1 plus G3 G4 H1 minus G2 G3 H2. So GS upon 1 plus GS into HS. HS कितना है? H3 into H3. Now you can say here, after taking LCM, 1 plus G3 G4 H1 minus this and 1 plus this, this will be cancelled after LCM. Okay, so after LCM I'm going to cancel it. So what will be the next step? What will be the next step? After LCM, okay, transfer function equal to what? This is G1, G2, G3, G4 upon 1 plus this, okay, 1 plus G3 G4 H1 minus G2 G3 H2, ये यहाँ आ जाएगा, plus this plus what? G1 G2 G3 G4 H3, and after LCM this will be cancelled. This term and this term will be cancelled. So this will be your answer. This is okay. So what is the final answer? G1 G2 G3 G4 upon 1 plus G3 G4 H1 minus G3 G. What happened? यहाँ प्लस था ना, तो 1 plus G3 G4 H1 minus this plus this. Okay, so that is your answer. Okay. Okay. So this is your final answer, we got it. So how to do it? First of all, you have to simplify the given block diagram, and you can see here first step क्या था, this block, this is the takeoff point, we have to shift here. Clear? So I told you already, अगर ये पहली स्टेप में यहाँ पर मान लो गेन k है फॉर एग्जाम्पल, तो यहाँ क्या हो जाएगा इसकी वैल्यू k इंटू G4. क्लियर ना? तो अगर आप यहाँ शिफ्ट कर रहे हैं तो पहली से G4 से डिवाइड कर लो, तो यहाँ अगर आपका क्या आएगा H2 अपॉन G4 इंटू K इंटू G4 इंटू K इंटू G4. So you will get gain K. So gain should not be changed. Okay, so that is the way. Anyway, that is a step I have explained. Okay, here. Okay, so I'm stopping here. Next problem I'm solving by block diagram reduction technique. Second problem I'm taking. Okay, next problem I'm solving, question number 2. This is the problem number 2 I have given. This is RS, sorry. This is RS. Okay, this is plus and this is minus. Okay, this is G1. This is H2. Okay, this is given. I'll tell you. This is G2, G3, H1, G4. Okay, this is C of S. Okay, it is given. This is the problem I have given. Next step is what? What we will do. If you shift this step, this takeoff point, this is the takeoff point I have given, clear? And suppose if you shift this takeoff point, say this one, it is better. If you shift this takeoff point beyond this block here, so similar to the last problem, if you are shifting this here, what will happen? This will be divided by G4. So here you will get H1 by G3, sorry, G3. Okay, so I am going to shift here. If you shift here, okay, so it is plus minus this. Okay, this is G2, sorry. If you are shifting this block here, so this 2 will be in cascade, so you will get G2, G3. Both will be in cascade, clear? And ये इधर shift होगा तो what will happen? So you will get, this is H2, okay, it is plus, okay, and this is the G4, okay, so this is cascade and this is C of S. I am shifting here, right? H2, like this, and this will become what? This will become H1 by G3. It is like this here. Here I have shifted. Okay, and similarly यहाँ पर भी क्या है, इसके लिए भी फीडबैक है एक और. So this is G1, this is प्लस माइनस, यहाँ पर भी क्या है, this was the H1 for here, so this will be H1 for here. So यहाँ पर भी क्या आएगा, H1 by G3. If you want you can separate it, H1 by G3. If you want you can take from here, you can take from here also. Okay, and one more positive feedback from here. It is what, G4 here. This is G4. Okay, so now next step is what? You can make it 1 first. आप चाहो तो these two are feedback it is forming. Otherwise I am going to make it this only. Okay, so this step will be there. 2 times I will do it. Otherwise this is negative, this is also negative. If you want you can make it 1. This H2 and this both are negative feedback from the same points. Okay, so आप चाहें, if we want you can add it. Clear? So इन दोनों का एडिशन क्या आएगा, H2 plus H1 G3 if we want. Clear? So it may become difficult, so it is better so to take this feedback loop only, this feedback loop. I am going to solve it, right? So क्या आएगा इसका feedback loop if you take GS, that is G2 G3 upon 1 plus, because it is a negative feedback, so plus GSHS G2 G3 H2. Okay, so I am going to simplify it. It is plus CS, I will take the forward path again. This is G1. Okay, and I am going to remove this only. This will be as it is. Okay, so again it is negative feedback. Okay, it is what? It is, this will be G2 G3 upon 1 plus G2 G3 H2 G2 G3 H2. Okay, and here it is G4. Okay, now this will be as it is. ये कितना है, H1 by G3, H1 by G3, this here. Okay, I had taken this feedback loop only this part. I had not taken this, so this will be as it is. Okay, and one more feedback here. What is the value? H1 by G3, and this feedback is given to here, maybe negative feedback. Okay, now what is the next step? I am going to use the blue ink. Okay, now what will be, this is forming closed loop. This is forming a closed loop, and after that with G1 it is forming a cascade. Okay, so पहला I am going to solve this part. It is forming a closed loop, right? So क्या आएगा, GS कितना है, what is GS? G2. Okay, G2 G3 upon 1 plus G2, G3, H2, GS upon 1 negative feedback, so it is plus. For negative feedback it is plus 1 plus GS, this G2, G3 upon 1 plus G2, G3, H2. So GS upon 1 plus GS into HS कितना है ये? H1 into H1 by G3. So H1 by G3. So this G3 and this G3 will be cancelled. It is H1. Okay. So इसका क्या आएगा? After LCM here, this will be cancelled. After LCM. Okay. So you will get G2 G3 upon G2 G3 upon 1 into 1 plus this plus what? G2 G3 H2, G2 G3 H2 plus this G2 H1. Okay, so G2 G3 upon this cancel after LCM here, 1 plus G2 G3 H2 plus G2 H1, G3 will be cancelled. Okay, this is forming a cascade with G1. So I am going to use only one block here. What is the block here? This G cascade by G1 into G2 G3, G1 into G2 G3, G1 into G2 into G3 upon this, upon what? 1 plus G2 G3, G2 G3 H2 plus G2 H1. This only G1 will be multiplied here because it is forming a cascade. Now this is okay. Then it is a feedback. What is the feedback loop? H1 G3, H1 by G3. This is H1 by G3. It is forming a closed loop feedback with negative feedback, plus and minus. Okay, this is RS, C of S. This is RS, R of S reference. Sorry. This is C of S, controlled, and this is reference input, R of S. Okay, sorry, R of S, C of S. Okay, so this is the, from here itself, it is a positive, not feedback, it is a forward path. Okay, G4, it is adding to here. Abhi, okay, so this is G4. Now next step I'm going to use, you can see here, I'm going to change the ink, say black. Okay, now you can see this G of S, and this is the feedback loop with negative feedback, so GSHS. Okay, so we want to remove it by taking a closed loop control system. That is a block diagram reduction technique. It is forming a closed loop. Okay, so I'm going to use this. I'm going to replace this part. This part I'm going to replace. So I will use here. Okay, so I'm going to okay. Now, so I'm replacing this. This is GS and this is HS with negative feedback. So GS ट्रांसफर फंक्शन क्या आएगा इस लूप का, इस पार्ट का. GS मीन्स G1 G2 G3 G1 G2 G3 upon this upon 1 plus G2 G3 H2 G2 G3 H2 G2 G3 H2 plus G2 H1 and this is GS upon 1 plus GS because it is a negative feedback, so it is 1 plus GS. This G1 G2 G3 upon 1 plus G2 G3 H2 plus G2 H1. So GS upon 1 plus GS into HS कितना है H1 by G3, H1 by G3. This. So you can say this G3 and this G3 will be cancelled. Okay, first. Okay. Now after LCM this will be cancelled. This 1 plus G2 G3 H2 plus G2 H1 and this will be cancelled after LCM. So you will get क्या आएगा G1 G2 G3 G1 G2 G3 upon 1 into 1 1 plus this so plus G2 G3 H2 plus G2 H1 plus this plus what plus G1 G2 into H1. So okay, so after LCM this will be cancelled, so you will get this G1 G2 H1. Okay, so this is we got it. Now I am replacing this block. I am rubbing. So you will get this block first of all by I am using the red ink. Okay, I am getting this. क्या आएगा G1 G2 G3 upon 1 plus G2 G3 H2 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 H1. Okay, I got this. I have repeated here. Okay, now okay, or this is the R of S. और यहाँ से positive feedback is given taken. Okay, what is the value here? G4. Okay, now here it is a positive feedback, it is given. Okay, so they are in parallel cascading. This is plus and this is given here. Now if it is in minus, so it will be subtracted. If it is plus, I am taking suppose plus, okay, in the original diagram, so it is plus. So क्या होगा this plus this is the C of S. So C of S equal to what? RS into this plus RS into this. So transfer function, what will be the transfer function? CS upon RS equal to this. Okay, these two. So I am going to rub it. This is the transfer function I am getting. What is the transfer function I am getting? This plus this plus this. Okay, so G1 G2 G3 upon 1 plus G2 G3 H2 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 H1 H1. This one clear. Sorry, this one plus G4 plus G4. This is the transfer function, that is the final answer. Okay, so our answer is G1 G2 G3 upon 1 plus G2 G3 H2 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 H1. Okay, plus G4 okay, but okay, so that is the final answer, we got it. Okay, from here we got, this is the final answer. So if your concept is clear, you can simplify the block using the block diagram reduction technique. You can find the transfer function. So I am rubbing it. Okay, next part number 2 and part number 3 I am developing, and we will solve two problems in part number 2 and two more problems in part number 3. Okay, so thank you very much for listening me carefully. Thank you.